In his recent video, Shorafsana said something which deeply resonated with me. He said, bad weather is equals to good photos. And I couldn't agree more. If you see this image, it's a perfect example of that. If you don't know who Shorafsana is, he is one of the favorite creators of mine. You should definitely check him out. I will try to give his link in the description below. So today, I will try to show you how I took these photos and how I edited them or stacked them together to create a final image. To click these images, I was using Nikon D5600 with 70-300 telephoto lens. Now you should be asking, why am I using a 70-300 telephoto lens for long exposure photography, that too of a lightning, right? I couldn't agree with you more. The reason I am doing that, because I was shooting from this window behind me and there are trees and buildings surrounding me. So if I had to get the perfect frame, I would have to crop in my post, right? To avoid that, I thought of using a telephoto lens so that I can zoom optically rather than doing it in the post, because that would hamper the resolution. So that is the reason I used a telephoto lens. So for this, you should be using a tripod, or you should find a place where you could keep your camera in a stagnant position. Now there are two reasons why I'm telling you this. First, it's a long exposure photography. So even a slight of shake, it will ruin your whole photo. Okay. The second thing, as we are trying to stack multiple images into one final image, so the frame should be stagnant, the frame should be fixed. Even a slight of movement, slight of frame changes, it becomes difficult to manage that in the post. So to avoid that, it's always better to use a tripod or find a place where you can keep your camera, in a stagnant, in a fixed position so that it does not move. Secondly, you should always protect your gears. If you look at mine, this is how I did it and it looks kind of cute, right? Now let's check out what kind of camera settings that we should be using for this kind of photography. So firstly, if you see the shutter speed, I want it to be as slow as possible. So 30 seconds is the maximum that I could set in my camera, and I proceeded with that. The aperture, I'm setting it at f11 because I want the whole horizon to be in focus. At the same time, I do not want to lose sharpness. So f9 to f11 is the sweet spot for that. I'm sticking with f11. At the same time, I am setting ISO to 200 because I started with ISO 100 and the images were kind of dark. So to compensate that, I increased the ISO a bit. And don't forget to set your camera focusing mode to manual. You do not want your camera to focus and ruin your image. For long exposure photography, always try to use timers, because when you are trying to press the shutter button, it might generate few shakes and it might ruin your photo. So here I am setting 2 seconds of timer. At the same time, I am setting the number of shots to 9. It means the camera will automatically take 9 photos at an interval of 2 seconds. And then you wait for the perfect frame, because for me, after I think 40-45 images, I got those 6-7 images which I could edit and finally create that final image. So patience is the key. So let's try to edit these photos. I have imported them in Lightroom, and if you can see, I have done basic set of adjustment to these photos so that all of them look almost similar. Now let's select all these images and right click on it, and there is an option called edit in, and you can find open layers in Photoshop. We'll have to select that. We'll open Photoshop. It will take some time, but it will automatically open this particular images as layers in your Photoshop. So let's wait for that. So I will try to speed run this particular section so that we don't have to wait for the entire duration for it to import. Okay, so all the photos are imported now. So what we'll do, we'll select each of the images that are imported, or all the layers in Photoshop, and we'll go to edit, and there is an option called auto align layers. We'll select that, keep everything as auto, do not select anything else, and we'll click on OK. It will auto align it. Okay, so it has already aligned everything for us. So the next step for us would be to select all the layers except the last layer. So see, I am selecting all the layers one by one except the last layer, and if you go to this drop down, there is something called lighten. You just select it off and you see all these images are superimposed into one another. So I would prefer to save this particular image. So now you can see it has created an instance in our Lightroom. You can edit it up to your particular wish. So for me, I would try to maybe crop it a bit and do some minor adjustment here and there. So for example, whatever the unrealistic parts, I will try to get rid of that and maybe align it a bit, and yeah, I'll keep it as it is, and that's it. You got your final image. So I hope you guys like this video, got to learn something, try it out yourself, experiment with it, and maybe share your results with me. You can find my Instagram ID in the description below. What are you guys waiting for? Post-credit scenes. That's it. I mean, like, share and subscribe and go out, click some photos, share it with me. See you in the next video. Bye.